Hello, welcome back to my channel and happy July mid-month coffee chat. So I want to first and foremost say I do apologize for the lack of videos that have gone up on my channel this month specifically. We are in full-blown baby prep, all the things. She could arrive any day. That's kind of where we are at this point. So I've recorded honestly quite a bit of stuff. I just literally haven't gotten anything edited or uploaded, but I like to, if nothing else, if you've been around a while, you probably have noticed that, but if nothing else, I like to get the plan with me up. I like to get the mid-month coffee chat up, and then I like to do like the recap of the month. A lot of times my recap are combined with the plan with me because it just makes sense when I'm recapping on the month prior that I'm setting the goals and I'm planning for what's coming the next month, right? So anyways, bare minimum, that's what I try to get up. But since we are talking about goals and we are kind of reflecting on how we've done so far in the middle of the month, that's the whole point of these coffee chats. So grab your coffee. Let's quickly just talk about how things are going so far this month in your life, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of encouragement. I want to give you the permission to give yourself some grace in the event that you're being really hard on yourself. And I just want this to be just like a really nice little video where we can come together and we can walk away feeling really good, really excited, not tearing ourselves apart, but feeling so proud of ourselves and ready to continue moving forward. So let's do it. So first and foremost, obviously I've already kind of told you about like one of my goals is to get a YouTube video up weekly. And the fact that I've only gotten my plan with me and then now this video up, that's not weekly. That's only 2 videos over the course of 16 days of a month. So, I mean, I guess technically 14 days, if you know, a week is seven days and you have a video every 7 days. I'm just shy of missing that, but you know what I mean. So I really, obviously at this point, my life is very, very focused on having a child. I'm about to bring a child into this world. And with bringing a child into this world, my life is going to obviously look a lot different very soon. So it's actually funny. I was telling my husband earlier today, he came home for lunch and I was like, you know, it's so interesting. Never in my life have I been asked, how are you feeling? More than I have like in the last month. And I absolutely appreciate it. And not even the last month, I would say the entire pregnancy, but especially here lately, anyone I talk to is like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And I do feel like there's this assumption of, and I've even like experienced it with friends, family, just people that I've known that have been pregnant over the years, where by this time of pregnancy, so many people assume like, you must be over it, or you're ready to have that baby out of you, or are you just miserable, or whatever it might be. And I feel so incredibly thankful that that's not how actually I feel at all. Instead, I feel so thankful. I'm very okay with her waiting to come until in a little while, like not being here necessarily today. I'm okay with her coming closer to her actual due date. And I think it's a mixture of like, obviously my life has been a certain way for a really long time. My husband and I have been together for a really long time, over a decade. And so life as we know it is obviously about to change very much. Like we're aware of that. We're ready for that. We made this choice. This was very intentional. But instead of feeling like I'm over it or I want her to be here now or whatever that might be, like as long as she is healthy inside of me, I'm good with her being there. But also I'm just kind of savoring these final days or weeks, however long it takes before she decides to come. And I think it's a really special time because I haven't necessarily heard that from, like I said earlier, the friends, the family, the people that I've known in the past who have been pregnant. By this point, when people are weeks out, especially being in the middle of summer and how hot it is and how large you feel and all the things, I get it. I mean, I get where those thoughts and those feelings come from, but for me, it's really not been that way. I haven't felt that way, and I have absolutely cherished this. I get the women who say they could be pregnant all the time. Like, I get that. Even with the carpal tunnel, which has absolutely like rocked my world a couple of nights, I have found some things that absolutely have helped. One thing specifically being magnesium. I'm taking a magnesium supplement that I had done my own research and tried to figure out like what can I take that could potentially help? And magnesium was one of the things listed. Vitamin D and vitamin B were also listed. So I have been taking all three of those as soon as I basically started getting carpal tunnel. And I didn't think that the magnesium was necessarily helping, or any of it really. So basically I just told myself, when those run out, I'll just let them run out and then I'll stop taking them. Well, that happened with the magnesium, and literally I had 2 of the worst nights of sleep of my life. And the only thing that changed was because I didn't have that magnesium. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should try that again. So I reordered it and I took it, and I mean, within taking it that night, I already had slept better. So it was just, it's so wild how, you know, I could have taken that as like, oh my gosh, this just must be that hard part of pregnancy, or that everybody gets to, where everybody's miserable and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just so not of that opinion. So today's coffee chat is more so about the mindset and the thought process of, you get to be in charge of your circumstances. You get to be the person that is absolutely intentional about how you're thinking about things, your mindset around things, and how you're going to pursue that moving forward. And what I mean by that, obviously I'm not just specifically talking about pregnancy. This is just a very like real life example that I'm giving you right now. But it could be anything. It could be your work. It could be your marriage. It could be a friendship. It could be a family relationship. It could be, you know, going to school. It could be an endeavor that you're working towards. It could be your health journey. It could be so many different things, but it is up to us. We have the power of how we choose to view the situation, how we choose to approach the situation, how we choose to show up and take action or not for the situation. And I just feel like there is so much power there that so often, instead of us taking a seat in the driver's seat and taking charge and being right there and present and being very mindful of how we're going about it, we often sit in that passenger seat or the back seat as though we don't have a choice and our hands are off the wheel. We have no decision or no input on what direction we're headed. And so instead we're just this passenger that's stuck and is a victim to whatever circumstances come. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I have absolutely put myself in the victim mindset so many times. I have felt bad for myself so many times, especially when it came to my health journey. I know specifically, I can think back to almost 7 years ago, because I hadn't started my health journey until beginning of August, where I finally got really consistent and I finally stopped letting excuses rule my life. And so it was 7 years ago, like right now, middle of July, where I was playing the victim card. I was woe is me. I hated my reflection. I did not want to go outside. I didn't want to wear shorts. I didn't want to wear short sleeves, tank tops, like anything. Like I just was so self-conscious, so unhappy with myself, hated my reflection, and I just blamed the world. I was a 27-year-old at that point who should have been living her best life. I was with my now husband, and we were in the prime of our lives. You know, people say your 20s is the prime of your life. Even though I will argue to say that my 30s have absolutely been so much better than my 20s ever even thought about being. But regardless, I definitely feel like I wasted a couple of years of my 20s, my later 20s, because of this mindset and because I chose to play this victim instead of taking charge of my own health and my happiness. And so all of that to say, current situation, my health situation, whatever it wasn't until I decided to say, hey, I need to make a change. I'm done sitting here crying, whining, hating my reflection, hating myself. That's no way to live. I just refuse to do that any longer, because not only was it affecting me, but it also started to affect my relationship with my husband. It started to affect my relationship with others. I would sit at home on a Friday night in this room by myself and do nothing, and just feel bad for myself and scroll social media and compare myself to others and wish that I was healthier and wish that I was happier and wish that I was in better shape, but would do nothing about it. And I finally put a stop to that. And I was like, that's not how I'm going to go about this. So same thing. I learned so much from that experience, and I have taken that experience and allowed that to kind of be my steering point when it comes to any sort of situation that is unfavorable or just like not, that doesn't seem fair or whatever it might be in my life. I have gone through all kinds of different experiences in my life with work, with personal, professional, all the things. And I refuse to be the person that's the victim, refuse to be the person that just sits back and is like, oh, well, there's nothing that I can do about it, so I guess I'll just sit here and whine and moan and complain. And even though I know that we very much live in a world that thrives on that, you know, if you've ever thought about, there might be groups of people in your life where when you get together, all they want to do is complain. And so when you're with them, you know, you're sitting here complaining about things, and when you leave, you feel gross and less than and just sad and down, instead of leaving that encounter and feeling excited and euphoric and just energetic because you've just spent time with friends. And I started to really pay attention to that. That happened with some friends, that happened with some family. And my husband's also really great about noticing that. And it just noticing that alone was a huge piece for me, because it was like, not that I completely stopped hanging out with those people, but what I did do was be more mindful of how I showed up to those situations, the energy I was bringing to those situations, and if I was feeding more into the negativity or if I was trying to bring in something more positive to discuss. And in the event that those situations continued to be really negative, I did distance myself. I did create some boundaries with those people / relationships, because I didn't want that, right? I had made all of these changes. The last thing I wanted to do was backslide and go back into that really negative mindset. So all of that to say, this is a little bit kind of all over the place, but I'm hoping that it kind of makes sense. We're here to talk about goals. It is the middle of July. Hopefully you set some goals at the start of July, and hopefully you're sitting down looking at those goals, sipping on some coffee, even though I haven't had any coffee. Let me have a drink. Sipping on some coffee or whatever drink you have, and you're reflecting on how have the first 15, 16 days of July gone? Have I made strides towards my goals? Have I had a positive mindset towards my goals? Have I shown up and taken action because I know that I can, despite circumstances maybe not always falling perfectly into place? Or on the other hand, have I shown up negatively? Have I shown up at all? Have I taken the action necessary? Am I playing the victim? These questions and the answers to these questions can be so eye-opening for you as you continue to move forward, because literally you have the power and the choice to make a change, to make a switch, to do something differently. Only you can do that. You can watch video after video about goal setting and about motivation and about inspiration and all those things. But until you are ready to tell yourself or say to yourself, enough is enough, I'm going to take action, you're probably not going to actually do anything. I want to give one more example of a client that is in our wellness community. If you don't know, I run a health and wellness community for women, and we are all about living happier and healthier lives, keeping things really simple, being very purposeful. And so I have a private group that I run that with, and I'm partnered with a company called BODI, formerly known as Beachbody. And so I work with women one-on-one all the time. And we had a client actually that had posted in the group just yesterday and was talking about how she has been so down on herself because her weight is up higher than it has been. She hasn't been motivated to get her workouts in. And come dinner time, when she goes to cook meals for her family, she's finding it so incredibly difficult to make meals that her family can eat and will actually eat. She has young children, but also meals that will be nutritious, healthy enough for her to help her reach her goals. And so she's just feeling defeated all over the place. And so I had taken some time to respond and to check in. And what I love about our wellness community is it's a private space where you only get accepted in if you and I have worked together and you have, signed up and all of that and added into the group, and I see that you're a good fit. And so women can come in there and share very vulnerably, knowing that it's a very private and safe space for them to do so. And so I can respond to those posts, and everyone can benefit from, because I guarantee there's other women that have felt those things or are feeling those things and might see her post and be like, wow, she's put words to the feelings I've been having. And so by me responding, not only is the original gal who posted getting benefit from that, but so is anyone else who comes along and has an opportunity to read my response. And so through that, I always thank people for, first and foremost, owning how they're feeling, because that is key. That is number one, what has to happen. Because if you can't own how you feel, you can't change how you feel, right? So that was first, just appreciating and just really, really, you know, acknowledging that she took the time to do that. But past that, I try to give some examples, just like I do in my YouTube videos. I try to give some examples and some tangible tips that she can take into that, into her scenario, into her life, into her day-to-day. And so I responded, and I just feel like it's one of those things where I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, but I can only respond to something like that with such confidence because I've been there, because I've worked through it, because I've taken action, because I've shown up for myself, and I've continued to do that on repeat for almost 7 years at this point. So that's not me saying that you have to have 7 years of experience of something to actually achieve whatever it is. I started at a month, you know, I started at 2 months, and then 3 months, and then I made it to 6 months, and then I made it to a year, then I made it to 2 years and 3 years and 4 years and 5 years and 6 years and 7 years, almost there. August 11th will be the anniversary of me starting this journey. But you can't get to 7 years if you don't get to 7 days, right? You can't get to a full month of working towards your goals if you don't start with 1 day. And I am so of the 1 day at a time mentality. Do not focus on the bigger picture. That's why we do monthly vision boards. That's why we do monthly plan with me's. That's why we do mid-month check-ins, because we are breaking it down into smaller chunks to see and show ourselves this is actually doable, instead of looking at a huge year-long goal and being like, wow, that's so overwhelming. There's no way. I don't even know where to start. I'm not even going to bother, right? That's why we break it down. That's why we do the 12-week year. That's why we do all of those things, because realistically, we know we can only take it 1 day at a time. I can't do all week's worth of things in 1 day. I can't do that, because who knows what's going to happen. I'm in a time of life where I do not know when this baby is coming. So can you imagine if I was putting the pressure on myself to get things done in the next week? No, right now, more than ever, I am focusing on 1 day at a time, because that's all I can focus on, because she could come at any moment. So I don't need to be focusing on anything more than 1 day at a time. And sometimes I break it down even more. I'm like 1 hour at a time, right? Before I sat down to record this, I had taken a nap earlier. I am fully accepting and owning that right now my body is tired, and so I take naps when I need them. I'm not fighting them, okay? So I hope that all of this makes sense. I know this is a little bit different of a mid-month coffee chat than what we normally have, but instead of coming to you and just kind of rattling off my goals and where I am with it, I wanted to come to you with a little bit more of a mindset piece and just some encouragement as we go into the rest of 2024, or whenever you're watching this, and just the power that you absolutely have right there within you as you are watching this video. You do not need to take another course, read another personal development book, listen to another podcast, or do anything like that in order to see the success that you're after. You simply need to own how you're feeling right now, and then address some action steps that you can take to make some changes. That's really all it comes down to. And then if you can focus on doing that 1 day at a time, whether it's your personal health journey or your work or goals that you're working towards or whatever it might be, relationship with your spouse, if you can focus on 1 day at a time, I promise you it will get better, because you're going to focus on winning that day. You're going to focus on what went well that day. You know, that's another piece, is so often we're constantly focused on the negative. We're focused on what didn't go right. We completely skate past what went well. And if you can start recognizing what went well and the changes that you can make, the actions that you can take, you are going to be feeling so much more empowered, so much more confident, and so much more ready to continue moving forward, because you're focusing on 1 day at a time. Not the week, not the month, not the quarter, not the 6-month mark, not the year. 1 day at a time. So I hope that this was helpful. I appreciate you being here so much. I am looking forward to getting a few videos out that are pregnancy related, and I hope that you will tune into them if that is something that you would be interested in. It's just something that I'm excited about doing. I had fun recording it, and so you'll be seeing those coming soon. But otherwise, thanks for being patient with me. Thanks for being patient with us. And I just appreciate you more than you could possibly know. So thank you, and I will see you in my next video. See ya.
watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?